Good evening. Welcome to another episode of DraxBytes. My name's Drax. I'll be your host for the next short interval. As we've talked about prior, this is going to be content in nugget-sized, bite-sized pieces. Be sure to put your comments in the comment section down below if you have any questions. Email them to me, office@adja.org. Happy to answer your questions, or reach out on Facebook at Hugo Drax or for ADJA. Look forward to answering your questions and helping you to build and grow your business. Last week, we talked about the Price is Right, a bit about how to set your professional fee. Today, we're going to pick up on a topic that came out of a number of questions. People came up with these questions after that. They were asking things like, well, for example, how do I know what to charge? How do I know what my value is? Now, there's a lot of talk about this. Some will say, make a list of all the things you do. Okay, that's a good starting point. But there's a couple pieces that need to be added upon. So if you open up a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, and down the left side, you start listing everything you do in the performance of your service at an event. Everything that you have to do for that event to happen the way you feel that it needs to happen. Once you've got that list down, go back and set a price for each item. What is that item worth to you? What do you feel you need to be paid to do that thing? Afterward, you'll probably come up and you'll sum that column of prices, and you go, wow, that's quite a lot. Here's the other thing. Most people will say, yep, that's your value. No, it's not your value. It's what you believe your value is. However, folks, the only value that matters is the value in the mind of the consumer. So take that list, divide it on your piece of paper, or move over a column and title that column, what the client values most. And check the items as you go down that list of the things that really matter to your client. What do they perceive really matters? I bet when you're done, you'll have a much shorter list in the third column. So now, if you take the money that you expect to be paid, translate that to the items that they actually value, you got a little bit of a problem. It's going to be a shortfall, because the business plan, which we discussed in our prior episode about how you set your price, says you need to make a lot more than that. So now you come into the question about the power of you. Here's the great thing that so many professionals in the event business don't understand: the power of you. You. What do you bring to the table that no one else does? You see, last week we talked in The Price is Right about your price needs to be based on your numbers, your metrics, your marketing, and your business. Well, let's look at that a little deeper. The power of you. What is it worth to a consumer to have you? What do you provide that no other event professional can provide? Have you thought about that at all? What are you bringing to the table? What are you doing? If you're doing photo booth, are you just bringing a box that spits out pictures and props and backdrops? If that's all you do, you're a commodity, and you will be subject to market pricing, which will be defined by whatever people want to pay, and I guarantee you that will be low. It will go down because it will only be worth what the market is willing to pay. And if they perceive you to be the same as some other schlub charging $100 for an event, they're going to book that $100, because you right there, you failed to establish a value proposition. We talked about that last week, reinforcing it this week. What is it that you provide that brings unique value to the consumer, that makes it such that they not only want your service, they have to have it. Give me, they want it. They want to pull your service in. You need to do that. If you don't have that, you have nothing special. and you are just a competitor. You're just somebody competing on price because you haven't created the proposition which establishes it. So if you're on the DJ side, what are you doing that's better, that's unique, that's more intrinsically worth more? Is it your microphone skills, your master of ceremony skills, your ability to plan? On the photo booth side, is it your images, your image quality? Is it the quality of your props? Is it the quality of your backdrops? I would say the quality of your backdrops is relatively unimportant because the client doesn't care as long as it looks good in the picture. And it's expected you hire a professional that the backdrop looks good in the picture. Props. Nobody cares about props. You should have good props. They should look good, be in good repair, and serviceable to your needs. But nobody really looks and goes, oh, that was a $10 boa versus a $2 boa, or what have you. Pictures. With large exception, people don't hire a photo booth for portraiture. They don't hire it for that. They hire it to capture a memory, an experience. And today, most good photo booth equipment and software produces reasonably pretty good images. Yes, you can always be better, and image quality should always be very important. But what you want to think about is, given the ease with which equipment is taking better and better pictures, do you want to hang your hat on the ultimate image quality? I would say no. It's important that they're quality, but not important, in my opinion, that they're studio quality. Because the truth is, the majority of people are never going to want them blown up. Yes, there will be outliers and people that will, but overall, out of a year's worth of service and thousands of pictures taken, I'll bet you don't enlarge a dozen or 2 dozen. But now, so going back to that on the photo booth side, what is you going to provide that's unique? And that is the experience. What do you create for the client and their guests that creates a cool experience, a vibe, a feeling? Because people want to feel. In our fast-paced world of everything's on social media and instant information and instant news or instant news opinion, people are inundated with stuff, and it's almost desensitized people. In fact, I believe it has. So now has heightened their desire for experiences, for things that they feel, things that they can do that are not a part of their everyday life. So as you think about the power of you, all the power to change your life and to change your business exists with you. You can do it. But now you have to look at your business and say, what do you bring? Made that list? Because we talked about that. We started out with all the things that you bring to the table and that you do for the success of that event. Really hone in on which of those are unique service opportunities that delineate you from others. It's real important, because if you don't do that, you're dead. You're just a good colleague, Kim Gottschalk, on the photo booth side. She gave a session last year at PBX. She said, if you're not distinct, you're extinct. And I think there's real sage wisdom in that. You need to be creating distinction in what you do. And distinction needs to be more than one thing. It needs to be the synergy, the sum, more than the sum of the parts. And that's what you have to focus on. How do you bring you to the table? On the DJ side, the way I did it was I created the Drax experience. That was the event people bought. They didn't buy me. They bought the Drax experience, which required me, but it required all of the functionality and technical services and entertainment services that I provided, which included storytelling, which included customized entrances, and sometimes over-the-top beginnings to a party, over-the-top endings, not things that were unique because of me, but because I had the ability as talent to create them uniquely for them. So that event was unique to them and special to them. And that applies whether it's DJ or photo booth or literally any event professional. If you're doing things for consumers, you need to create uniqueness. The power of you is in your business. The way you can create a great and powerful business is by being you. We'll leave this off and let's jump into the DJ segment for a moment. You're not really going to be an effective business if you're trying to be urban cowboy today, hip hop Bob tomorrow, swing out sister the day after, and so forth. Trying to shoehorn yourself into other types. It doesn't mean you don't play all genres, but there is an authenticity that comes from doing what you do and doing it best. For myself, I focused heavily on a specific series of decades and specific genres because it allowed me to play music that I liked a lot, and allowed me to engage the audience in ways that was effective. We mentioned a little bit about that last week. So what you want to look at is, how are you going to become an effective, unique person within your business? Now, if you have a company and you have employees, the power of you has to be drilled down to your staff, because the power that having staff is creating an identity that each of those people are unique humans that bring unique personality and character to whatever service is being provided, and that adds billable value. Because if Bob's booked, they can't get Bob. They can only get Jane or Tom. Or if Jane's booked, they can get Bill or Bob. So hopefully what you're seeing from this is that the power to establish your value comes internally, but it is only validated by the marketplace. And that's by what a consumer is willing to pay for. Now, you probably think that's self-evident, but if you think about the things you buy, when you go to buy a car, almost everyone buys a car from the person they like versus the person that might be offering it cheaper. Why? Because relationships are how sales happen. And I'm not talking about being BFFs and be on each other's Christmas card list. I'm talking about professional business relationships, which allow that person to feel open to express their concerns, open to share their worries, open to share their things that they're interested in and excited about. As you do that with your business, you will find an increasing level of opportunity that will rise in your business, because you will become a trusted resource. Because they know, for example, if you don't feel you're the right service for them, you'll happily refer them to another DJ company or to a different photo booth company. That, you know, maybe in your photo booth business, you deal mostly with weddings, and someone contacts you and they want you to do a middle school event and they want you to be there, but you go, I don't want to do that. I've got a day job. I don't want to be over there. But you know another colleague, so you refer that person. That person still keeps you because you were the trusted resource, the trusted advisor, the trusted professional that they could rely on. So as you think about the power of you, let's look at what we've identified. Listing the things that you feel you contribute to the event is important for you. Listing a price for them is important to establishing some sense of self, some self-worth. But having your business plan has to override everything, because the number in the plan has to be met. You cannot have this number be way, way higher, because this business plan is based on real mathematical thinking. This can be higher, but it needs to be as an aspiration of where you need to be driving your company. Then we talked about adding in the value the consumer places on that particular thing or that particular aspect of your service. Now you have to look at how you translate you, the consumer, the service, and how those things will relate to a compound synergy which creates something where the customer has to have you. They want you. They want to give you this. They want you. They have to have it. So it's an important thing to understand. Hopefully, you've gotten something out of tonight's discussion on the power of you. Remember, put your comments down below. Send me your questions. Ping me on Facebook. Ping me on email. Call me on the phone. We're here as the Photo Booth Association and the American Disc Jockey Association to help the event industry, to help DJs and photo boothers to become more successful and better business owners. That's all for now. Leave your comments down below, and we look forward to next week when we're going to be talking about Brand X.